I am going on no sleep here, but we're still here for you. Houston, Overreaction Tuesday. Michigan wins the national championship. If you're as excited as I am, if you're losing your voice like I am, if your body has scratches and cuts on it from all the celebrating you did and pounding your fist, whatever thing, give the video a like. Michigan wins the national title. No one jinxed it. No one jinxed it. Everyone liked the video yesterday, right? They must have. No one jinxed it. I got the list. They matched up. No one jinxed it. Michigan wins the national title. So many legendary performances. Donovan Edwards, J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, Will Johnson, Mike Sainristil. Take a look here. Stat leaders from this game. Michigan wins 34-13. It was I didn't know the exact stats, but the Washington guys here on the radio row at the CFP Media Hotel were, hey, Washington had 4 possessions in the second half when it was a one-score game, right? So, shout out to the Michigan defense. J.J. McCarthy. Brett said it early on in the first quarter, right? Michigan over 175 rushing yards in the first quarter. He said, Michigan, JJ should not throw a ball. Just don't throw. Washington honed up their defense into the second quarter. Michigan ends up with 303 rushing yards. Just think about that. To Washington, the best offense in the country, with 301 total yards. $5 coming in from Cody Montford. My man will get you in one moment. So Michigan wins the national championship. It is our Overreaction Thursday. My first overreaction to this is just thank you to Jim Harbaugh. He drove his program when they were at its lowest point. I mean, 30, 40 years of excellence prior to 2008. Rich Rod, 3 years. Brady Hoke at a year or two. In shambles program. 2014, this team goes under 500. Jim Harbaugh comes in, hottest coach in football, a year away from 3 straight NFC championships, a Super Bowl appearance. He comes back, takes Michigan. It took him longer than most people expected, and had a play or two. JT Short, trouble with snap, Michigan State. A couple play two were here. He might have been in the playoff once or twice prior to 2021, 2022, 2023. He didn't have to come back to Michigan. He probably could have got multiple NFL jobs back then, maybe the last couple years, but if that was the last we see of Jim Harbaugh in a wearing a Michigan football hat, wearing a Michigan football shirt on the sidelines, I think, was he wearing this one last night, the coach? So this is the one, see that one he had last night. If that's the last we see of Jim Harbaugh, I'm fine with it. He delivered a national championship. He's leaving Michigan at the absolute peak of college football, and they're going to say Sharon Moore was born on third base, unfortunately, if that's the case. But I was able to start throwing it back at him. But Sharon Moore's already got a win over Ryan Day, so maybe he created a third base. He pushed him over there with a little base knock himself. He was on SportsCenter, Jim Harbaugh was last night, and he told Scott Van Pelt, which people text me about this. You see Harbaugh say he's coming back. I'm like, maybe. But he told the players 3 or 4 days ago that we're moving spring practice this year. We're going to move it back about a month. And a really funny quote on there was that he said, we usually start spring practice on Valentine's Day because we love football, which is just purposely hilarious or accidentally hilarious. I'm not sure. But that is Jim Harbaugh. So, leading in now, that could just be talk. I think he probably has a one-track mind. All these reports came out yesterday. Oh, Jim Harbaugh is interested in the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh is going to talk to the Raiders. Yeah, I know. That was all bullshit. That was all fake news. There's no way in hell Jim Harbaugh was contacting media sources or other people that, hey, in the national championship game, let them know that we're interested in the Raiders. So it was just fake news all over the place. Thank you to Jim Harbaugh. Here's him accepting the trophy last night at NRG Stadium. Is the reaction. Michigan wins the national championship. Jim Harbaugh hoists the trophy. National championship gear, we've put it all on one page for you. Hats, T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies. I mean, I'm going to spend $700, I think, on this stuff. I'm a sweatshirt, t-shirt, hat, etc. This one's awesome. This one's everyone's loving up right there. I really like this one, so go check it out. Chatsports.com/champs. Check out that link. It goes to the exact landing page of all the stuff that's in stock that you can probably get, delivered within a week or so, whatever their timeline is. But there's all the stuff that's in stock, ready to be bought. Chatsports.com/champs. Go get your Michigan football national championship gear now. Number 2 overreaction is this team is just filled with legends. I can make a strong argument right now. I could make a strong argument that the top 5 players in the history of this program, 4 are on this team right now. 4 on this team. Charles Woodson's going to be number 1. J.J. McCarthy, best quarterback ever. Blake Corum is the best running back in the history of Michigan football program on the same team. Mike Sainristil is the second best defensive player in the history of this program. And Will Johnson's story has not been wrote yet, right? Will Johnson is the MVP of the national championship game, intercepted Michael Penix, helped shut down the best wide receiver group in the country, or them or Ohio State, and he's still got another year. So we can be saying he's the best or second best cornerback, maybe second best defensive player in program history when all is said and done. And this young man, so happy that he got this happen. So happy that he got, in this spotlight after a great end of last season. 990 yards rushing right there at the 1,000. But this just wasn't Donovan Edwards' year, and he really couldn't break it together. But he did in this game. Absolutely exploded right out of the gate with 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Here is my reaction. What's his first or second? This is the second Donovan Edwards touchdowns from the stands at NRG Stadium last night. And the gal and her mom behind me, we've been giving 5s all of the first quarter, and I turned around. They just didn't see it. They Tom Brady'd me for a second there, but that was actually pretty funny looking back. It was hilarious. Give me your one reaction to yesterday's man win national championship. Mine was just, yeah. Screaming as long as I could. It is the Michigan Football Report Overreaction Tuesday. This team is filled with legends. J.J. McCarthy didn't have to be a legend yesterday. They didn't need him to be. I thought they could have been a little more aggressive, especially in the second quarter, when you felt that when this game went to halftime as a 1-score game, as Washington scored a touchdown with a minute or 2 left in the quarter, second quarter going to halftime, they would get the ball back at after the half, just like Alabama. You went to halftime like, man, Michigan has owned this first half. You only have 1 score. I thought Michigan should be up by 20 or 21 points at that time. J.J. McCarthy ends up 10 of 18, 140, no touchdowns. Now, Blake Corum was your MVP. Look, stadiums need to do a better job at giving you stats in the game. This is one of the reasons I stopped. Like 5 years ago, I was going to 4, 5, 6 Michigan games a year. I haven't really done as much because the viewing experience in the stadium hasn't gotten any better. Luckily, NRG had Wi-Fi. Hello, Michigan. It's not that tough. But they don't put any player stats on the screens in there, right? So you got to check your phone. I'm not going to be looking at my phone like a dweeb during the game, checking stats. So you just don't know what players are, what kind of stats they have. Here at watching the game at a stadium. So I think they need to do a better job of that. And I didn't really realize, wow, Corum ended up with over 100 yards and then 2 touchdowns, puts those ones in at the end of the game. The Don early with 2, Corum late with 2 field goals from James Turner. Michigan wins 34-13. Now, Will Johnson was the MVP. He had an interception. That was right after halftime, right? After halftime, we were walking back. We did the old Patterson meetup. Saw Shay's dad at the stadium last night. We went and hung out with him at halftime, had a beer, and then came back. And I had to go to the bathroom. Crazy lines everywhere. And so I actually didn't see it. I saw a celebration, and that was that. I want to do this, though. I want to give my thoughts on Mike Sainristil. I just, think about how much this guy means to this program, how much leadership he has shown, just the ability to make plays. Is there ever been a player for Michigan that makes a big play at every moment he is given the opportunity to in the history of I've been watching Michigan football games for 30 plus years now. I've watched every snap since probably 1991. I don't remember a player who comes up bigger in bigger moments than Mike Sainristil. And as such, this 2-year run, he's a wide receiver 2 years ago against Ohio State. He was catching balls against Ohio State in 2021, switches over to cornerback. I think he's the second best defensive player in the history of this program. And here is his game-clinching interception that the stadium just absolutely went wild for. In your entire life in one night than watching a Michigan football national championship game. I feel like I've got 5 or 6 people that this is my new best friends. Like I was hugging them, shared blood with a guy. Somehow I got cut in my arm. I was bleeding and dripping on a guy next to me, but he didn't seem to care. We're Michigan blood brothers for life. Yesterday's the greatest day of my life. And I'm not afraid to say it. 2 kids, married, blah, 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 born myself. But yesterday's the greatest day of my life. So make this season the greatest day of your life, the greatest year of your life. Subscribe. We'll be your Michigan football national title headquarters here on YouTube. Programming all offseason long, and we're going to try and stick to a daily show at least up until signing day, February 7th, and then after that we'll probably go back to the 3 or so shows a week in the offseason, ramp it up a little bit during spring practice, whether Jim Harbaugh is the coach or not, slow down the summer, and then we're back to daily shows in August one more time. Go back, though, Jack. The greatest day of my life, because I want to just kind of expand on that for a second, is people's like, I saw the haters in the tweeters like, this is pathetic, dude. Greatest day of your life. These are teenage boys. I'm just like, shut up. Anyone who wants to make those comments like that. I follow this as my recreation, Michigan football. I've turned into part of what we do as a career, and they hit the absolute peak of the sport, and I was there for it. So how would it not be the greatest day of my life? I know plenty of people with multiple marriages, multiple kids. You can't decide, though. You can't shake those out. So this is once in a lifetime, at least for me at this point, that I saw Michigan in a national championship game that I was at, that they won, that I was able to cover professionally, and then go as a fan, do this, greatest day of my life. Let's keep it rolling. NRG was absolutely electric. It was absolutely an electric stadium. I can't get it. I went to Super Bowl, the Panthers Broncos, and I thought, this can be great. It stunk as an environment because 80% of the people are there either corporate seats or don't like care, et cetera, and you only get like pockets of fans like up in the corners in the upper deck. You get a huge thing of fan base. Everybody in between the 30s, in between the 20s, the 10s is all just like they were going no matter who is at the game. So I thought it was there. I went to an NBA Finals game. I was at Game 7 Cavs Warriors. This was the most 1997 Michigan Ohio State. This was the most electric atmosphere I've ever seen at a sporting event. So everybody from Michigan, Washington fans were great too. You guys brought it, and it wasn't just during the game. It was for 90 minutes plus before the game to 90 minutes after the game. And there was still a bunch of people there for an hour and a half after the game was over, just taking it in, as were we. What do we got here, Jack? A little celebration here. Celebration. Here it is. If Michigan lost this game, if they would have lost to Washington, what would the haters, the ESPN jerks, the Ohio State fans, the Paul Feinbaums, the Pete Thamels of the world, what would they have said? They would have said cheating. They would have said asterisk. They would have said told you so. They would have said this. But they didn't get to say it because Michigan did beat Washington. What were the haters going to say? I guess we'll never know. Michigan is your 2023, I'm not ever saying 2024, the 2023 national titles, although all the things say 2024. I don't like that. But nevertheless, Michigan wins the national championship at the game last night. They had a magnificent send-off for this program. It is the Michigan Football Report. Take a look at this celebration to end the night at the stadium.
Congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines, the 2024